We are recording.
We are
Okay,
recording.
ready?
Yeah, ready.
I'm
I need to.
Cheska.
Wait.
Shit it already.
I know. I was like, I need to look at the camera, and there was like, but I can't see the freaking script. So right,
Oh,
okay.
immediately with the bloopers.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm so sorry. It's me we're talking about. All right, go on.
I'm Cheska,
And I'm Tammy.
and welcome to Don't Tell the Boys, a smutty book club for two long distance besties with little to no shame.
We're reading fantasy, we're reading romance, and we're finding our book boyfriends. And crucially, we're not telling our boys about it.
Boys are absolutely welcome.
Yeah, just not ours.
We can be your cozy kink. That's a new phrase I learned today.
Cozy kink. Oh.
Have you heard of that before?
No, obviously I know what a kink is, just not a cozy kink is new to the vocab.
Not that vanilla. Apparently, a cozy kink, people are in a disagreement. Some people say it's literally labeling normal relationships and normal sex as a kink. And some people say no, it is a kink, but it's like pumpkin spice cafe where there's kinkiness, but there's no drama and
Um,
everything's fine all the time.
so I would say that, yeah, I would classify like Pumpkin Spice Cafe as a cozy kink.
So I didn't know whether it was you've got a kink for coziness or if it's coziness that involves kink. Either
Yeah.
way, maybe that's what we are. So we want this to be a read along book club. We'll tell you what book we're reading today, and you can join us and we can discuss them together on social. You can find us at don't tell underscore the boys. Or if you've already read them, you can listen to us make horrible predictions about what happens next and laugh at us. Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Pretty much. That's very simple.
So basically, yeah, you can listen to us make horrible predictions, and you can laugh at them if they're wrong, but don't be a dick. That's kind of like the
Yeah.
number one rule of this podcast. Don't be a dick and no spoilers.
We're allowed to, um, but just be nice to us.
We'll be discussing the book, so there'll be spoilers up to and including the points to which we've got to, and also strong language and adult content. You've been warned.
Yep, you have been warned. So what are we doing? Why are we doing this? I feel like we need a little quick introduction.
Yeah, why are we doing this, Tammy?
Okay, so it all started when Cheska and I actually started working together, and I have been reading not necessarily smutty books all my life, but I grew up with like Vampire Academy, Fallen, Morganville Vampires. Twilight, I devoured Twilight. Like I remember having the dates on my calendar when all the new Twilight books were being released because I needed a copy. Like I remember begging my mum to let me go and buy the next Twilight book. It was like a whole thing in the house. So I have always loved to read. And since Cheska and I started working together, we just got talking about books and what I was reading. And then I recommended to her one of the books that I was reading at the time. And that was Akata. And that was my first, no, not my first, but like romantasy. That was my first sort of romantasy book. And I was
Right.
a little bit ahead from Cheska. And I'm going to let Cheska sort of explain her first thoughts of the Akata series.
Okay. I'm going to dispute some of this, first of all.
Oh,
I'm going to
go on.
dispute some of this because actually, the first the first book that you recommended to me was not ACOTAR. The first book that I started reading based on your recommendations was Haunting Adeline.
Oh my God, yeah! Oh my God, I forgot. Starting
So
hard, deep content warnings, flash, flash, flash.
hard and deep being the keywords. Um, basically, we both work at a well-known academic publisher, and when Tammy joined the team, I think it was on my to-do list to kind of get back into reading because I didn't really read that much. So I asked Tammy for some book recommendations, and that was one of the first ones she recommended to me. And I think that kind of says it all, to be honest. I found out what it was, and I was like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially after reading the disclaimer at the beginning. And to be honest, I think that kind of sealed our friendship because I was like, okay, I've known this girl about 2 minutes and she's recommending like hardcore
I
erotic
was
fiction.
I was so scared. I was like, this could either go two ways. Either she's gonna be like, yeah, we're like so same wavelength, or she's gonna be like, this girl is an absolute freak.
Actually, I think I would have been more upset if you'd recommended Twilight because I grew up with Buffy. So I had to hate Twilight on principle. So if you'd recommended that to me, that would have been an absolute no-go. But Haunting Adeline, I remember you explaining it, and you you didn't really explain exactly how pornographic it was going to be. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this sounds kind of weird, but I'll try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one I started with. And afterwards, I was like, great, why not? Send me another. And then you sent me Akatar, which I knew was like the absolute classic. So I read all of that. We were talking to each other every day. You'd already
Yeah.
read most of it, and I was determined to catch up with you, which I definitely did. And we read the last one together. It's how we were keeping in touch long distance,
And
which is mad to think about.
look where life has gotten us. Look where we are today. But it's crazy that we've like gotten this close now, and we
Yeah,
just like we've only met a few times in
we
person.
spend all day chatting to each other, basically.
Yeah.
So Tammy introduced me to the world of erotic fiction, I'm going to say. Well, that's a bit of a lie because obviously I'd read 50 Shades of Grey.
Love,
Obviously, I don't
obviously.
want to say it's like the vanilla because it's not by definition, but it's like can I say it's the basic of erotic fiction?
I feel like it's the Twilight equivalent of the erotic novel like category. You know what I mean?
Which is
Like,
ironic, right? Because Twilight was originally fan fiction of something else.
yeah. Well, I thought, wait, hold on. I thought it was 50 Shades was fanfic of Twilight. One or the other is like fiction for
I
yeah,
think you might be right.
which I think is hilarious.
It wouldn't surprise me if Twilight was fan fiction to start with either. But hey.
Yeah.
So I'd read 50 Shades of Grey before that, and before that, I'd read one erotic fiction book ever, which I bought when I was 14 from a charity shop, and they had like
Ooh,
those Mills and Boon books in the corner,
naughty.
like Bodice Rippers. And I went in and I was like, I was unsupervised, and I was like, I know what those are,
Yep.
but I don't want to stand and browse those in front of strangers in the shop, but I definitely want to find out what they're all about. So I
Mhm.
just went up and bought one, and I think it was like £2.50. I just grabbed a random one, took it up to the counter and bought it. And the lady, the lady definitely knew what I was doing, but she tactfully didn't make eye contact with me. She handed it over the counter, but she did look a bit disapproving. Um, and that was like the first one. And I didn't want my mum to know I bought it, so I hid it under the bed, and it stayed there until I left for uni, I think, or even
Oh
later,
my
maybe when I
God.
left home later, it stayed there and I kept it hidden. She definitely knew it was there, but so there you go.
It's an absolute relic.
So I wouldn't say I've read a lot. I don't have a very high romancy body count, um, but that's going to change.
It sure will. It sure will. Liking the episode? Let us know how we're doing in the comments below. But please, no spoilers. And don't forget, you can find us at don'ttell_the boys on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. We're all over the place. Make sure to follow us to stay updated with your new book besties.
So, is this a good time to jump into our very first book of this series?
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, yeah, I think it's finally time. So, it's January 2025. we're a little bit behind on this one. Okay, it's been on my TBR for a while, and I know that the third book is coming out at the end of this month, but we thought it would finally be a good time to start reading the Fourth Wing series. Ah,
Yep, it's happening.
I don't know anything about the book, apart from maybe one character's name, and I actually don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly either, or yeah. But because I've wanted to read this book for so long and it's been on my TBR for so long, I was like, I will avoid content as much as I can. So apart from the name, or maybe
Which is
names, Xaden,
Zayden.
Xaden,
Hmm.
Xaden. Um, oh, and it's so funny. I only know his name because of course I joined a bunch of Facebook groups about Akata, and somebody
Right.
was literally like comparing like the male characters in Akata and Fourth Wing. And as soon as like I saw Zayden, I was like, wait, I don't recognize him. He's from Fourth Wing. Let's stop here. I don't want to know because I would like to read this book. So yeah, that is literally all I know. And maybe that it's
Okay.
about dragons.
That's similar. So I actually thought this was a Sarah J. Maas novel until I bought it.
Ooh.
Don't at me.
All right. Yeah.
So that tells you how much I knew. I know it has dragons in it in some capacity, and I know that it features somebody called Violet and somebody called Zayden, and that's all I've got. I did accidentally look at the maps when I bought the book on Kindle because I was trying to figure out how long this book was, and I went the wrong way in looking for the chapter list.
Oh
Um,
no. Excuses.
I can tell you that this book has two maps, so make of that what you will.
Oh. Quick note here. Just a quick question. When you're reading, like, or when you were reading Akata, did you ever go back and look at the map at any point? As you were introduced to like all the courts, did you ever go back and be like, oh, I wonder where like the spring court is, or even like where the, when they were under the mountain, where is the mountain?
Well, spoiler alert for Akatar for anybody who somehow found their way here and hasn't read it yet, because it's like the entry level. Turn this off and go and read that right now.
Yeah.
Because
And
we've
then come
already done
back.
that series. So we're not going to do that series on this podcast unless a new one gets released. Um, the only time I went back really to look at the map was there were very few occasions, but mainly when I was trying to figure out where that tiny, tiny island is, where that
Oh,
little like where the fairies and the humans were living in harmony. And I literally couldn't find it on the map, and I thought maybe that was on purpose.
I was just wondering if you ever
Do
went
you
back
use them a
for any
lot?
reference. No, I will like a proper look at it when I first start the series, and then I just won't look at it again.
Fair. Yeah, I'm not going to be getting them out and putting like little flags on there for different troops and things like that. The direction of battle. Um, so I've had a little look at this though, and it's telling me that the estimated read time for this is 13 hours and there are 39 chapters. I don't know if that's what you've got.
No, because I haven't opened the book on my Kindle just yet. I literally bought this book like 10 minutes before we started.
Right before we
So
hit record.
yeah, literally. Oh, the map is pretty cool.
It looks very dark academia. That's all I could gather.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Like, obviously, I'm so down that we're like documenting this process,
Yeah.
but this should be a note. Cheska's a very fast reader. Like, she reads so quickly. When we were reading the Akata series together, when we actually caught up, she would still finish before me. And bless her heart, she had to wait for me to finish because I am such a slow reader. So I'm already like imagining you having to wait for me to reach 10 chapters for us to be able to come back and actually talk about it. The other difficult part is not talking about the books whilst we're working and
Yeah,
saving it
that's
for the
so true.
podcast. We
We do
haven't
our
thought about
best.
this.
No, we've not thought about this at all. This is
Fine.
going to be terrible.
I know, because we have daily calls, and we always somehow end up talking about books.
What I'm thinking is we'll do this in 4 parts. So 10
Mm.
chapters, 10 chapters, 10 chapters, 9.
Let's put a pause on this, or let's end it here
And jump straight in.
and jump straight in. Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you come back to watch the first official episode.
You can find us
Awesome.
at don't tell underscore the boys. We'll see you
Um,
there.
yes, we will see you there. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Join us as we read and react to Fourth Wing for the first time. Find out if I loved it, if Jessica hated it, who's hot, who's not. We'll also be doing other fun things like character rankings, fuck, marry, kill, would you rather, and answering your questions. Follow us across social media at don't tell underscore the boys. And finally, please rate our podcast after you decided you like it.